Wade Whipple, this is no time for lying down. I come to you with an urgent need.
How did you get in here?
A true warrior can conquer any stronghold. Not even the strongest barrier can contain his might.
Came in through the open window, huh?
Yes, I did.
Hello, please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat. We'll put a movie or TV show on for you. This is Movies at Grandma's House, where we look at the movies and TV shows sometimes from the past. See if they're still good today. And I'm your host, Isaac. Most people think I'm a joke. And who's with me on this special bonus episode covering the Knuckles TV show?
I'm Seth. I do not make jokes. I make warriors.
I'm GalagaGuy88. Why are you wearing a windbreaker inside? There's no wind.
Oh, I love that line. So great. Well, as you can see, we have a special guest with us, GalagaGuy88. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So great to have you join us for this special bonus episode. And I have to ask you too, Seth, how you feeling?
All excited to be here. I'm just so stoked.
It's just an exciting month. We've been covering the Sonic the Hedgehog movies 1 and 2 already. Now we're on to a bonus episode. That's right. We're covering a TV show. A little different from what we normally do, but we're just so excited for making this Sonic month. The whole month of December is dedicated to Sonic. So before we jump into this, we just want to remind you all, wherever you're watching this, wherever you're listening to, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, so you'll be up to date, all things Movies at Grandma's House. And as a proper warning, like we always do, if you've not seen Knuckles, the TV show, what are you doing? Stop what you're doing. Go watch it. It's on Paramount Plus, and come on back, because we're going to have a lot of fun with this one. Like we mentioned, it's a TV show this time, but we thought how appropriate we cover it. This is none other than just simply Knuckles. That's the name of the show, based off of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies that we've been covering. And this was released back on April 26, 2024. So it was released this year, kind of as that middle in between Sonic 2 and the upcoming Sonic 3. So like we normally do, we like to get first memories. This just came out, but I'm still interested to hear, as our special guest, GalagaGuy, what were some first memories or first takes you had when this was released?
I was a little worried because sometimes, whenever they do a TV show of a show, they have to downgrade, CGI and also to maybe change voice actors and things like that. So I was a little worried. But once I saw the first trailer, I was like, wow, they kept up with everything. So I was excited.
Cool. That's awesome. How about you, Seth?
Yeah, I hadn't seen this before, the review, but I was highly anticipating it because I've enjoyed the Sonic movies thoroughly.
Yeah. I'm with you, GalagaGuy88, because my thought was, this is just going to be a rush to TV, whatever, streaming, whatever you want to call it. But I was very pleasantly surprised to see that there wasn't much of a drop-off, if any, from the movie quality. Like the CGI of Knuckles, they really put the time and effort into animating him and making him look good. So I know my kids were just psyched. They were just like, oh, Knuckles. My oldest is a huge Knuckles fan. He loves Sonic. But then when Sonic 2, the movie, came out with Knuckles introduced, he kind of flipped. He's like, I like Knuckles the best now. So this was right up their alley. They were so excited. That's kind of how we were when we saw that trailer, kind of along with you there. So going back again, we were going to cover this, even though it's been this year. But going back, what are some expectations that you had? And we'll start with you, GalagaGuy.
Expectations. I was just hoping it would be, a good story. I know the other two movies that I had seen, like that, they were great. Like Seth was saying, like I love those. So I was really like hoping the story would be good. And again, just hoping that they would stick with the same like actors, voice actors, things like that, and just provide, just a good time.
That's great. Yeah. How about you, Seth?
Same, but I will say I look forward to learning more of their background of the characters and seeing their development. So that was something I was looking forward to.
Awesome. Yeah, I was just like, again, I have kids that are big Sonic fans. I kind of mentioned it when we were covering the first two movies. I just wanted to have a fun ride with this one. This was, a beloved character. If you're a Sonic fan, I think you like Knuckles in some capacity. He offsets Sonic in a lot of ways, and this was more focused on him. But I was just like, let's just have some fun with this. This is a fun series, and I got kids to kind of watch their reaction and see how they enjoy it as well. So let's jump right into it. Let's go on to our streaming service. Let's bring up Paramount Plus, select Knuckles, and press play.
While Tom is away, Knuckles takes over the house and gets grounded by Maddie. He then decides to coach Wade to be a warrior for the upcoming bowling tournament. Hilarity ensues. We take a 6-episode adventure, meeting new characters and find their true strength.
Very nice. There's a nice summary. Because again, this is different. We're covering a TV show. We normally cover movies. So we're just going to kind of have an overview when it comes to this TV series. There's 6 episodes. Again, like we mentioned, go check it out on Paramount Plus so you can get the finer details. But we're here to just kind of discuss some things that stick out to us, kind of highlight. So I'll start with you, GalagaGuy, as our guest. Just kind of, what are some impressions when you're going through this series that stick out to you?
Well, the very first scene it just amazed me because, again, I was worried that they're going to drop off, the CGI and stuff was going to be, not very good compared to the movie. But the very first scene, whenever Knuckles is going through that obstacle course that he's made, you're just like, wow, like that they didn't pull any stops, like they did everything. Like they went through and made sure this is just as good a quality as the movie itself. So just the animation throughout the entire movie or entire show. I'm used to saying movie on here. Entire show. That to me was really, really impressive that they kept up with it the entire time. So that's something that I was really, really impressed by.
Yeah, I agree. Because it again doesn't have any drop off, and it's just, it feels like it belongs in that universe. Sometimes they do these spin-offs and TV shows and it feels disconnected, but I never felt that way. So I completely agree. So yeah. How about you, Seth? What are some things that just stick out? I mean, there's a lot to digest here, but just anything that kind of first impressions.
Much like GalagaGuy, I was blown away by the production value. You could tell they really invested in this project. The quality was great. The humor was on point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to bring out some humor. There's so much. It's like, where do we start? Like, what's some things that stick out to you on the humor side, GalagaGuy? Just things that you appreciate.
A lot of things were like little like quips that you had to like, you almost didn't catch what they were saying, but as soon as you do, you start laughing because it was so ridiculous. One thing is the Wade, he's getting beat up in this snow resort, and the guy's like, the guy who's beating him up is like, hey, did I ever tell you about the time I did underground fighting? And he's like, I just met you 2 minutes ago. Like little quips like that, you don't even like realize until after they say it, like, oh yeah, he did just meet him 2 minutes ago, why would he hear this story? Or like a lot of times it's like bringing on like a realization, like things, I don't know how to describe it, but like whenever Knuckles is locked in this cage, the room's dark, and he's like, where have you put me? And in a dark cave where no one can hear me scream, and also the guy turns on the lights, and it's a snow resort. He goes, well, this is actually pretty nice. So it's just stuff like that. It's just throughout the whole thing. There's just little quips and little things that they bring out that's just so funny.
Yeah, I agree. I love that when you're talking about the snow resort too, because he's fighting him. He's like got a hold of Wade, and his phone rings, and he's like, "Oh, it's my mom." So silly, just so off the wall, but I couldn't help but laugh at it. I'm just like, this is so funny. And so, I mean, my kids were dying laughing too, because he's just like, yeah, you better answer that. And he's talking to his mom while he's holding him in like a chokehold, like,
yeah.
So silly, but I don't know. I appreciate the humor. Maybe that's not everybody's humor, but I was dying laughing at parts. How about you, Seth? What were some things?
Well, I wish I could remember most of the quotes, but I love the scene where he's fighting his like an old best friend, who's on a motorcycle, and that whole the whole scene is just one funny thing after another. It's joke after joke, and I just loved it. I was eating it up.
I have a confession that it's so silly and dumb, but we're kind of just looking at the series as a whole. But if I'm gonna narrow down an episode, I think it's episode 4, the rock opera that takes up. I don't know why, but I just enjoyed that episode, and it's so silly. It's so off the wall. But I have to say that the part where you're talking about where he's on the motorcycle, he's fighting him. There's a close up on him, and he's just like, "I suggest you get a vehicle." And it zooms out, and he's way down the road. And Wade's just like, "What?" It's like, "I suggest you get a vehicle." That whole sequence is just hilarious. I love it. But what'd you guys think of that episode? I know that's a very not controversial, but it's kind of a weird episode. Am I saying that right? What do you think, GalagaGuy?
I liked that part of the episode where they're on the motorcycles and stuff. But the rock opera, I was kind of like, it was cool at first, but then it kind of was like, all right. I even left the room because I had to go grab something, and I came back and it was still going. I'm like, how long does this rock opera last? I thought it'd be like a 5-minute scene, and it was like half the episode. I'm like, that's a little bit much. My kid loved it. The whole time he was dancing as they were singing. I mean, my kid loved it. So I guess the target audience was they're entertained by it. So I guess that's good.
Cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think if you're a kid, I bet that was an amazing episode. I don't know, maybe I got that kid in me that appreciated it, but I mean, I just thought that was a random episode. What did you think of it, Seth? Just
the rock opera was funny, but it got, for me, it wore on a little bit too long. What I did really appreciate was that he goes, "Am I Knuckles now?"
That's a great line. Oh, that's great. Yes. I don't know. I think there's several good episodes, and maybe we can come back around. I'll just say that was my favorite. I wouldn't say it's the best episode by far, because like you guys said, maybe that's a little too much, but I love the opening sequence. He comes out on his porch and he's drinking coffee. He's just like, it's so nice day. And he looks down and there's a strap and he gets pulled by the motorcycle.
Yeah.
It's just a great way to start an episode. I don't know. There's just little jokes, and that's the whole series. It's not like that's the only episode, but I found myself laughing the most at that one. So maybe go back to you, GalagaGuy. Is there an episode that you liked especially, or one that maybe stuck out to you more?
I would have to say, well, I guess the second episode, whenever they're in that's really the snow place was like the best one to me. Like, I love that one where he was like, Wade was pretending like how he's going to get in there and save Knuckles. And he had this whole plan, and he bought all this stuff at the gas station to do it. And just immediately, just like within like a 1-minute sequence, just ruins his entire plan and blows up his car. So that was like killer to me. The episode you're talking about, though, I loved that part where Wade's like the bounty hunter guy, his best friend. I forget his name. Yeah, but he's like, this is nothing personal. He's like, you're my best friend. This is very personal.
Yes.
like everything about that, just so funny. Like,
I love the other line is he's like something about defending why he's bringing him in. He's like, "I'm sorry, man. Money's been tight. I've got that lawsuit with that unnamed rainforest restaurant." I don't know why. I just was laughing hysterically at that too. It's just so great, so funny. Like you said, you can miss a lot of these quotes. They're so fast paced, and maybe that's not your cup of tea. I know some people are like, that's a little overwhelming, but I don't know if that's your humor, it hits on it so well. But yeah, hear from you too, Seth. Is there any episodes or moments even that kind of stick out to you when it comes to the series as a whole?
I really enjoyed the whole thing. Like I mentioned, the only thing that I could probably be negative on is the rock opera being too long. Other than that, it was really funny. The dialogue was very clever. The action was great. so the episodes kept moving really well. I actually ended up watching it twice in a week. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Awesome.
There's no really one episode I don't think for me that I really enjoyed over the other. I really appreciated them all. They all had their own little storyline, and it helped progress Wade's character and Knuckles' coaching style.
Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, it's a fun series. It's again going back to, if you like the Sonic movies, this is almost a must watch. It's maybe not gonna. We'll see when the third comes out. I don't think there's anything here that's gonna be very important to know. You talked about the plot. It's a pretty straightforward plot, but it's just a fun series that if you're watching those movies and thinking, I want more, this is a no-brainer. This is like, you got to turn to this. One other thing I was going to throw out there too. So he meets up with his dad. That's kind of a storyline of how his dad left him at a TJ Maxx. I thought that was hilarious. As sad as that is, I know it's terrible. Don't leave your kids at a TJ Maxx. But this is fictional, so we'll go with that. But anyway.
Disclaimer, do not leave your children at TJ Maxx.
Yes, I sound terrible, don't I? Make that clear.
It's
yes.
hilarious. The way he said it. He was just going to TJ Maxx, which is hilarious.
Just of all things, it's so specific. It's just so silly. It's a TJ Maxx of all places. But I love Cary Elves as his dad. I want to get your thoughts. Go to you, GalagaGuy. What did you think of Cary Elves as his dad?
I loved it. As soon as I saw him, I exclaimed to my wife, like, "Oh my gosh, look, it's Wesley!" Yeah, but I love him as his dad. Like, I think he always does so well in whatever movie he plays in. So, and he kept up with he's good at comedy stuff too. So, him keeping up with that part of it, it was great to have him in there, and definitely sideswiped me. I didn't know he was in this until that episode came up, and I was like, "What?" So I love Princess Bride. So yeah, that's I loved him being in it.
Yeah, I was exactly with you. I didn't realize he was in this the first time I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, this is fantastic!" And he plays that character so well. I think he's a great actor because, like you talked about in Princess Bride, he's kind of the heroic protagonist, but he's also played a bad guy, and he does that in this series. But he does it so well. It's one of those you love to hate him in a way because he's just kind of snooty, and it just goes along with that opposite of Wade. I don't know. I don't know why he just fits so well. What did you think of him, though, Seth? What was your thoughts on him?
So basically, he takes the role of Dr. Robotnik in this series, and he plays it just perfectly. And like you said, it's a love-hate relationship. He's very over the top, but yet it's still funny and aids the storyline. Not to like break off too far, but the scene where his mom sees him and then she's devastated by seeing them together was actually kind of emotional. I thought that was well done. Of course, played by Stockard Channing. She's an amazing actress.
Yeah.
I was just blown away by the acting all the way around in this show.
I agree. Yeah, that I'm glad you brought that up. We're touching on the fun moments, but it does have its like, well, okay, let's bring it back a little bit. I mean, I made it more on the funny side, but yeah, there's the thought of, he was abandoned as a child. His father left him at a TJ Maxx. I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh at that. Just the TJ Maxx of all things.
The announcers, you remember the announcers, the bowling announcers? They're like, he was abandoned at a TJ Maxx. If I had to be abandoned anywhere, a TJ Maxx is a great place. I love that stuff.
That's what I mean.
And I forget their names too. The announcers were great.
Yeah.
Just so funny.
Yes. That's what I mean. The thought of it, no, that's terrible. But just again, they're trying to make light of it because to Seth's point, what he brought up, it is kind of that emotional, okay, this character isn't just silly. He does have this, he's coming to terms with, I thought my dad was his hero, even though he abandoned me. Now he's actually what everybody was saying. He's not a nice person. So it brings that back a little bit. It's definitely, for the most part, I'd say 70, 80% of it's kind of on that fun, silly side. But you come appreciate that. They weren't kicking it up all the way to 100 the whole time. And that's something I really like. And that's maybe going back to Cary Elves and playing that character is he does such a good job with that. He's conveying, oh, I'm this fun father, I just had these circumstances, that's why I left you in this TJ Maxx. But then he's actually a jerk, but he plays that so well. I don't know, I just thought he did a well job. And like you brought out, he kind of is that Dr. Robotnik. You kind of have to have that in a way in a Sonic universe. So I was just impressed with that. I really, really enjoyed that. So, but yeah, anything else? I mean, again, there's so much we could talk about on this, but maybe anything else to kind of throw in there and come back to you, GalagaGuy. Just anything to kind of throw in there.
My favorite part with Carrie Elves is whenever they're in the in his suite and he says, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then they have his mom and sister, and he's like, "Oh, there's nothing I could do," and then the bad guy is just like, "Yeah, we barely even threatened him, and he gave up immediately. It was his idea to kidnap your mom and your sister." Like he's just like the biggest like scumbag. Like it's just so funny, like how it flips. And then the mom is like, she's saying, "Where'd you even get that accent from?" He's like, "You never supported me." It was so good. It was so good. I
Oh,
was
that's
dying.
great. I that goes along with it. Yes, that scene is so great. I love that too. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about that. That was maybe the highlight for me. Was a great way to kind of. It's a 6-episode series, and he doesn't come in till the 5th episode, and he's kind of that climax, whatever that it goes off on. There's another villain in this. We didn't even touch on him, but I don't know. I agree with you. He was kind of the villain, it felt like, at least to me. So, but yeah, anything else, Seth, that you wanted to touch on? Again, there's so much we can touch on, but just make sure anything else you wanted to bring out.
A lot of my notes are overlapping, so I'm just going to bring out a fun fact. Kid
go for
Cudi, one of the bad guys, previously sang "Stars in the Sky," which was featured in the end credits of the theme for Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Aha.
Ooh.
I love that.
Ooh. Yeah.
He was the guy with the gloves.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, which guy?
Yeah.
I will say too.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
I was just going to bring up the action in this too. I thought was really impressive. I mean, even though it's like a kids series, more or less, it's geared more that way. But like, whatever he has to take on the bad guys at any point in time, Knuckles or Wade. Like, I feel like it was done really, really well. It wasn't just like, oh, he hit me and I'm out. But like, it actually was very entertaining to see, him use his powers and stuff. And I thought they did that really, really well. They could have shortened that up to save some money, but they thought, we're still going to make it like it is in the movies where you get that action packed, part of it. So I really did enjoy those sequences.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That's something, again, going back to, you were thinking, oh, they're going to go down a little bit, maybe on the quality, but the animation and the action sequences, I completely agree with you. It didn't feel off at all. It could have been its own movie in a way in that Sonic universe for sure. But yeah, anything else, Seth? What else you got?
So I just wanted to say that I love the experience. I thought it was a nice addition to the series. It kind of reminded me, it put me in the mind of Men in Black a little bit. I don't know if you guys got that feeling when you watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have to say that having Idris Elba, Christopher Lloyd, and Stockard Channing in the cast, for me, is what made the movie, or the show, I mean. I'm used to the movie thing too.
Yeah. That's right. There's so many other characters. I mean, we didn't touch on, like I said, there's the main baddie that, he's trying to get Knuckles' power, and those 2 henchmen work for him. He serves a purpose, but I mean, we didn't touch on him. Christopher Lloyd, yeah, he's great as the Echidna, the kind of the wiser older one that tells Knuckles he needs to go train Wade and all that. So yeah, there's this. We can't touch on everything, but that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that out, because I appreciated that too.
Yeah, as soon as he talked too, you knew who he was. Like, I was just like, oh, Christopher Lloyd. Like, his voice is so distinct.
Yes, that's what makes it so great. So, but yeah. Well, yeah. Anything else that you want to throw in there, Seth? That kind of touch on everything.
I've got some user reviews if you want to hear those, but other than that, yeah, I'm pretty tapped out.
All right. Well, we'll just recommend it again. It's on Paramount Plus, especially with Sonic 3 coming up. I think this is a great way to hype yourself up, get ready for the third one. Of course, watch the other movies, Sonic 1 and 2, but this is a great way to kind of segue. I feel like, at least for me, we'll see if it connects at all. We'll have to wait and see what kind of connections. Maybe they'll put a little nod if you pay attention to it. I'm excited for that. So, but yeah, let's get to that. Seth, what kind of reviews are you seeing out there when it comes to the TV show for Knuckles?
Snoopy Style says, fun little side trip, 7 out of 10.
Okay. So 7 out of 10. Not bad. That's kind of what the other movies were getting, we were noticing. So seems pretty favorable.
Jeremy Crimson Fox said, may not be as good as the movies, but still entertaining, 6 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. You know, we made the joke about 6 out of 10. Would you agree that that's more fitting of a 6 out of 10?
I liked it better than that, but
yeah.
At
least what they're saying.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
What they're saying anyway.
That's more fitting. I got you.
Yeah. Because some people were like, I hated this movie, 6 out of 10. And we're like,
yeah. It's
what
a
are you
terrible
talking about?
movie. It's a terrible movie. Don't watch it. 6 out of 10.
Like 6 out of 10.
I saw one review that said the main character's not even in it, or the main character of the title's not even in this movie at all. It's just Knuckles. And I'm like, he's like, Sonic is nowhere. And I'm like, this is not a Sonic series. Like, you must have thought it was like Sonic, like Knuckles. Yeah. I don't know if they thought it was the movie or what, but I was like, I think that you got that backwards. He's the main character in it, but all right.
Yeah. I think they're confused because if you look it up, it actually just says Knuckles. It doesn't even say Knuckles the Echidna or, Sonic the Hedgehog Knuckles. It's just Knuckles. So
yeah.
I don't know. They got confused, I guess. I don't know.
So I got one more, and it's from Erica Bishop, and she said, made me love Knuckles even more, 10 out of 10.
Wow. There you go.
And so if I could give my own personal real quick, I have to say that most of the reviews said the same thing. When I was digging through reviews, I dug through so many, and they said, too much Wade, not enough Knuckles. And I disagree. I think the storyline was really well put together. The plot was amazing. Production value was great. How can you complain about this one? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it. I think it's just going to be one of those you got to watch it and see. This is going to be maybe you love it, maybe you hate it, maybe you're in the middle, like anything. But I do feel like it was kind of split after it was released. I know there was a lot of anticipation for this. At the same time, I think there was a lot of favorable reviews by critics anyway. It's more like in the 70%, like 6 to 7 out of 10. We kind of feel that's a favorable review. But as far as, gripes with it, maybe we'll get to that once we give our personal reviews if we have any to bring up. But I think people's perception is just maybe they thought Knuckles' character was this way, or like you said, maybe they felt like there wasn't enough Knuckles in it. Maybe, the focus was on way too much. I'm with you, though. I agree with you, Seth. I think it was a good balance. I enjoyed it. I think Knuckles served his purpose. He's that warrior. I mean, that's the theme song, I am a warrior, that's
if I could sing it, I would. I've heard it about 40 times this week.
Yeah. So I don't know, but we can just say we can all agree to disagree. I guess everybody's going to have their own opinions, but I don't know how you can't at least enjoy something out of this if you're a Sonic fan. Like, this is just a must watch if you're a Sonic fan. That's my take. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I'm going to stick to. So, but let's get down to it. Let's give our actual official reviews. And again, this is a TV show, but we're still going to treat it the same. So our rating system won't be any different. And we'll start with our guest, GalagaGuy88. So I have to ask you the question. When it comes to Knuckles, the TV show, are you going to take it home? Are you going to leave it at grandma's house? Or are you going to hide it in the attic?
I think I would probably take this one home. I like the other Sonic movies, and I think that this is, just an addition to those. So I think I'd probably take this one home. Definitely would watch it. If I go through a thing where I'm watching Sonic 1 and 2, I feel like this would also just be an addition to that before I'd watch 3. That's kind of how I'd always do it from here on out. So yeah, I'd definitely take it home.
Awesome. Yeah, I can see that for sure. And again, we've talked about all the fun that there's just, again, what is there not to, if you're a Sonic fan, not to appreciate? So That's for GalagaGuy, but let's move on to Seth. What is going to be your rating?
I'm going to take this home as well. It's exactly what GalagaGuy said. The movie is a great addition to the series. It has a lot of its own potential, and I loved the spinoff in itself. It's just a really well put together. Like I said, you could tell the budget was very, very high on this movie or a TV show. So I just liked what they did with it.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'll have a little bit of a different kind of rating, if that makes sense, because since this isn't a movie, this is a TV series, I feel like I got to give a little bit of a two sides to it. If I were going to say specific episodes, this is a take it home for me because there's, like we talked about, some of our favorites. They're just fantastic. As a series, I thought about it because I'll be honest, maybe in the middle, it kind of slacks off a little bit. So if you're trying to put all that together, it's still right there for me. Like it is so close. But if I was going to have to make it as a series as a whole, I probably would leave this at Grandma's house, but I would love to go back and revisit it. This is one of those, I'm at Grandma's, I'm probably going to put this on right away, along with the Sonic movies. I think you got to put this almost on the same level. But I just got to be honest, I feel like it kind of dips a little bit, but everything else is fantastic. I had so much fun. It's got so, like we talked about, just great quotes. And I think to go along with you, Seth, it's almost a multiple watch. I think if you watch it and go, you got to watch it again. You got to go through because you're going to miss so much. So that's why if I say leave it at Grandma's, it doesn't mean it'll be a while. I'll probably go back to it pretty soon. But just being honest, it's not a perfect series in my opinion. So that's just how I would rate it. Take it how you will. That's kind of how I feel good about rating it anyway. Having two different ratings going on, especially since it's different for us. We're used to reviewing movies, but this is a TV series. So you kind of have to take it all in as one thing, as much as I feel there were some different episodes with different levels to them. So, all right. Well, there you have it, folks. We are all caught up and we are so excited for Sonic 3. We are anticipating the release because Shadow, that's the big advertisement for Sonic 3. We talked about, we had Tails, we had Knuckles introduced. We're so excited. So this is a great way we recommend go back and watch the first two movies if you haven't recently and this series. Get geared up because we're going to have our review soon for Sonic 3. So stay tuned for that. But before we wrap things up, let's make sure we give our special guest, GalagaGuy88, a spotlight. So where can people find you at?
Now you can find me on YouTube, GalagaGuy88. Also find me on TikTok too, GalagaGuy88, and also on Twitter. I'm on there too, GalagaGuy88. So you can check me out on those platforms. That's it.
Awesome. Yeah, be sure to check out his content. He's, as you can see, got a pretty awesome arcade in his own house, and he's got some great videos that bring out some of those arcades, some games. So if you like that, definitely check him out. Definitely subscribe and give him a follow and a like and all that good stuff. And we'll make sure we cover our bases as well. So Seth, where can people find us at?
You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can email us at movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com, which is a mouthful. And you can follow us on Patreon. Check us out, become a member, and stay up to date with everything we're doing.
There you go. So again, we can't stress enough how excited we are. Stay tuned because Sonic 3 is just around the corner. We are anticipating that. So if you're excited like we are, be sure you're up to date. You follow us on all those platforms and message us. Feel free to, any memories or any thoughts you have on the Sonic movies. We'll be sure to give you a shout out. We'd love to do that as well. But that'll pretty much do it here at Grandma's house for now. So in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Wait. Knuckles told me about you. You're the legendary leader of the Echidna tribe.
In the flesh, baby.
Well, it was an honor to meet you, Chief,
Pachacamac.
yeah, Chief
Pamachika.
Pachakamak.
Parmesan.
Pa.
Pe.
Cha.
Jor.
Ka.
Mar.
Mac.
Za.
You know what? Mac's fine.
Okay.